Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jurassic Park. I will be your tour guide today. I am Jerry Jones. These are the three other people there at the visitor centre. Of course, you've already experienced the visitor centre as you arrived in the park. I'll be taking you on a quick tour of our entire park today, starting with our, I think you'll acknowledge, our fairly beautiful Jurassic Park style gates. Look at them open. Oh, creaky. We might need to oil those. Dave? Where's Dave? Dave, you can be Dave. Dave, remember, we need to oil the gates. Okay. So, first up on our tour, we have a Parasaurolophus / Brachiosaurus exhibit. Fantastic, large herbivores, beautiful creatures, I think you'll agree. Some of you may have seen the major motion picture Jurassic Park based on this very experience that you're encountering right now. And you may notice that some of our exhibits, including this first one right here, are actually based on that same film. How meta. Anyways, there's our Parasaurolophus and Brachiosaurus. Now, next up, if you keep an eye out, the foliage is a little bit dense, but we may see a glimpse of the carnivore. Oops, daisy. The Dilophosaurus. You've got to peer into there. Maybe if you don't see a dinosaur, tap the camera and ask if we have dinosaurs on our dinosaur tour. Although you'd do that later on, wouldn't you? In theory. Anyways, here we are on our tour. Don't see Dilophosaurus yet. They're a little bit shy, the Dilophosaurus. The foliage is pretty dense. They don't always make an appearance. Do not fret if we don't see them quite yet. There is another Dilophosaurus paddock later on in the tour, so maybe you'll get the chance to see them then. If you want to take a photo, you can do by hitting a certain button. No, we'll ignore that one. That doesn't make sense. And it will magically teleport you to a really obnoxious position in the middle of the car where you sit on everybody, which is fun for the whole family. Maybe not the kids. Anyways, moving on. Next up on our tour, what do we have? We have the medium carnivore. Now, we couldn't get the sign developed in time. I do apologize. This is actually the Parasaurolophus exhibit. And up front, we also have some Gallimimuses very close to the vehicle. Very exciting. And there's a Parasaurolophus. Look at that, right by the fence. He's come out to say hello to you folks today. What a lovely treat for everyone involved. Anyways, there. You see more park guests arriving there in the corner. They're, here to partake on the same tour. They're just as excited as you folks at home. Now, the galleys seem to have backed out a little bit. We can see one just ahead of us. And as you can see, if you look to that tree break in the right, the exhibit does carry on much further. Again, very similar. The film was actually based on our park, as it happens. So this is where the rolling hills are. This is where the Tyrannosaurus Rex would have broken out. If you so like, it's up to you folks in the vehicle. And at the end of the tour, we'll also take a quick little helicopter ride, and I'll show you an over-air view of the entire park. This does happen sometimes, folks. I'm not sure what to tell you, but this is a fantastic opportunity. If you want to hop out your camera, no, this is actually a terrible opportunity. If you want to whip out your camera and tourist it up a little bit, there it is. The beautiful dinosaurs, the Gallimimus. They're flocking this way, as they say. Now, it is worth noting there are more dinosaurs to this tour that you will not quite see. The tour, I'm afraid, this is only phase 1, you see, folks. Oh my god, I apologise,
Vehicle under attack.
That's a risk you take when operating a live park like this, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologise, though. I assure you that we are completely safe in our magically rotating vehicles. I promise you, there is nothing to fear except fear itself. Bloody Nora. Whew. Where's Dave? Dave, you can be... Wait, where's Dave? Dave, sort the Gallimimuses out, okay, Dave? The punters are scared. Moving on. Now, there are dinosaurs, as I was saying, that you will not quite see on the tour. We're in phase 1 of the project so far. Further into the project, the tour will split off in several routes. So dinosaurs such as the Herrerasaurus, the Segisaurus, for example, and even indeed the Herrerasaurus will not be part of our direct tour today, but if you want to see them from the helicopter ride later on, you can do so. Some of you may have been lucky enough to see the baby Velociraptors during our scientific little ride earlier on inside the visitor centre. I'm afraid the Velociraptors are not quite ready for the tour either. Again, we may be able to spot them from the air, but unfortunately the raptors are a little bit on the aggressive side, and I want to keep you folks safe and not dinner. So there goes the Gallimimus paddock, one of the biggest, if not the biggest paddock you'll be seeing today in our park. Dave. Anyways, moving on, what do we have next for you folks at home? As a professional tour guide and the owner of Jurassic Park, you think I would know that off the top of my head, but I do not. I believe we're about to spot the Baryonyx, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to wait and see as we swing around this first corner. Bada bada. I do not believe it's the Baryonyx. Oh no, it probably is. Anyways, as we approach around this first corner, you'll see the Baryonyx on the right-hand side. You'll see here with the Baryonyx we have a lot of water. It is a very aquatic loving dinosaur. It loves to fish, and you can just see one there by the big tree underneath it in the water. Kind of hard to see because of the bloody mirror window thing. There it is. There's our Baryonyx. That's actually 3 of our Baryonyxes walking together. Now we have 5 Baryonyx here in Jurassic Park, but I believe I can only see 3 of them right there, but there they are. Like I say, we may be able to get a little closer with the helicopter later on. And keep an eye out and you may just spot the other 2, Barry and Natasha. Everyone's called Barry apparently, but Barry and Natasha are a bit of a couple. They like to spend their time off on their own a little bit, you know, getting down and Baryonyx. Enjoy the tour. So, what are we doing? How do I kill time in this bit of the tour? Well, we just keep an eye out for the Baryonyx. You never know, folks. This is my first tour guide, okay? I'm new to this. My name is Jeremy Jimes. Low reference for you there. And this is my first tour guide, so thank you for, partaking. If you want to leave a review for my tour guide after this, you lovely folks sitting in the car, then please do so by hitting the giant like button that appears as you emerge from the car. I think I'm breaking my immersion a little bit here. Right, as we leave the Baryonyx behind, we're moving on to our next exhibit. I think this is one you folks may find quite exciting. Let's see what happens. If you're a big fan of the Jurassic Park film, keep an eye out for this next exhibit. I apologise for the bumps in the road. We tried to flatten the land here, but unfortunately there's these undercurrents of water and moisture that we simply couldn't get rid of in a natural way. So unfortunately we've had to keep the bumps there. But it's a little bit of a roller coaster for the kids, you know? You know what kids are like these days, always bumping or something. Barry. Dave. I mean, there's only one Barry. What am I about? This right here, ladies and gentlemen, in the car, is our Tyrannosaurus Rex paddock. Now, unfortunately, the T-Rex is also shy. We do try to bait her out with the goat. As you can see, vegetarians look away. Now, oh, a very special treat there, ladies and gentlemen. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, otherwise known as Rexy for reasons nobody really knows, has made an appearance. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, everyone inside a car cannot turn their neck more than like 70 degrees. So it's quite hard to see, but if you whip your camera out, your neck magically works again and you'll be able to see our Tyrannosaurus Rex in her glory. There's also, although we may have missed it because I was looking at the Rex's face, the bathroom scene from Jurassic Park. You may remember Malcolm and Gennaro getting involved in some bathroom fun. Not how it sounds. That same bathroom was actually rebuilt in the same location as from the film for the purpose of this park. Few dinosaurs that can overcome her in combat. I'll have you know, this voice actress is actually the Queen. We managed to get Queen Elizabeth II of England to voice act for our park. We spared no expense. If she doesn't sound particularly queenish, that's because she's putting on a little bit of an accent, a little bit of a tone, just trying to make it a bit more accessible for the general public. She's nice like that. Leaving behind the Tyrannosaurus Rex, we're moving on to a joint paddock here. On the left-hand side, if you keep an eye out, you may be lucky enough to see Triceratops, my favourite dinosaur as a kid, and now that I've seen her, she's the most beautiful thing I ever saw. And coming up on the right-hand side, we also have our Metriacanthosaurus, one of our medium-sized theropods with very distinctive colourings and markings. Again, the signs, a little bit in work there, folks. This is, like I say, Phase 1 of the park. Feel free to come back and spend more money down the line to see Phase 2, or Phase 1 again. Dinosaurs. There is our Triceratops, our three-horned face. Over there in the distance, folks, a majestic creature. She was recently ill, though we did not fake that for the film, but she has recovered now, so all is well. Now we've seen her, if you look out the right-hand side of your window, you may just be lucky enough to spot the Metriacanthosaurus. There it is. Now, unfortunately, the maker of this film is an idiot and forgot to replace the Metriacanthosaurus with the Concavinator mod that they were using for their video the other day. So it's still the Concavinator, but let's just pretend, and I can't believe I did that. Oh, I'm an idiot. Anyways, so there's our Concavenator and our Triceratops. Just pretend, okay? It's a Metriacanthosaurus with a back problem. We're near the end of the tour now, folks. As I say, I will give you a helicopter tour. There's lots of little details you've missed out. The Velociraptors we couldn't include. You've not seen the docks, because why would you? You're here as a tourist. There's really no reason to go see the maintenance docks. But we'll show you them anyway. Until then, however, there is one more dinosaur to see. Now, we did not manage to spot a Dilophosaurus in our earlier tour. Hopefully we're a little bit luckier this time. We have a more expansive, less foliage heavy Dilophosaurus enclosure. In reality, we would actually have 3 Dilophosaurus enclosures for reasons I'm not quite sure of. My architect is Dilophosaurus mad. He has posters of Dilophosaurus in his bedroom and he licks it every night. He's an odd guy. He's a great architect, but he's a bit of a weirdo. So keep an eye out on the left-hand side, and maybe we'll spot one of these venomous dinosaurs spitting a tarry venom-like substance. Now, you may not know this, ladies and gentlemen, but the Dilophosaurus in reality would not have been this small, although these are juveniles we're about to see, and it would not actually have been venomous. We've kind of upped the ante a little bit for our Jurassic Park to try to make things a little bit more exciting. We did not have a venom-spitting dinosaur, and unfortunately it doesn't look like the Dilophosaurus is going to come out. Oh, we've just been lucky enough to spot one. There we go. Let's hop into our Kodak cameras, and hopefully we can get another glimpse of it at some point. The cheeky little blighter, where's he off to? There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's our Dilophosaurus. It doesn't look like it has a face, but that's okay. Oh, yes, and we saw the frill open. A rare treat, which nobody in the car saw because they can't turn their heads around for reasons I don't understand. Anyways, I believe we're now at the end of the tour, folks. If you have any complaints whatsoever, please direct them all to Dave. I have no responsibility. This is my first tour. I'm not a professional. Dave is the man. As a bonus little treat, before we swing back past the visitor centre, where you'll be able to get out of the car and spend all of your money on useless merchandise, we are going to take one last look at the beautiful Brachiosauruses. You may recall from the film you only saw one up close. We're getting a little bit of a treat today, where you're going to see all of our Brachiosauruses live, up close, and in person. Beautiful. Unfortunately, your tour guide is in desperate need of a sneeze and is battling valiantly to reduce it. Whew. Anyways. Bloody Nora. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this Jurassic Park tour. We're going to swing past the visitor centre in a moment. You'll be able to say goodbye, spend all your money, as I say, on our high-quality dinosaur tat. And then if you'll join me for the helicopter ride in a moment, we will take a look at the rest of the park from above. Chuga 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 chuga. Welcome to the helicopter tour of Jurassic Park. I will be your pilot / tour guide, which seems dangerous, and I agree, it is, but we're really short-staffed here at Jurassic Park right now. So, as we fly over the park, I'll point out some of our movie-accurate scenes. Here we have the visitor centre with its beautiful plant-filled pond betwixt it and the forest. Betwixt is a great word. If you look out your left window, pretend I'm not turning the entire helicopter, you'll see what is the remnants of Mount Sibo. Those of you who've been a fan of our more recent films in the Jurassic World saga will be very familiar with Mount Sibo. Now, I'm afraid Mount Sibo itself is not real here on Isla Nublar, but we've built a nice little replica for you folks to enjoy. If you wish to climb Mount Sibo and peer into its non-existent lava, you can do just that. As we fly on, we're going to drop down a little bit here. Feel free to wave at the punters, the people to pause before the helicopter ride. We're going to swing a little bit further on. You'll see some roads everywhere connecting in. These are our maintenance roads that our maintenance workers use to maintain our park. Now, as we move forward, if you remember towards the end of the film in Jurassic Park, and also making an appearance at the start, we saw our raptor pen. Very exciting stuff. It is held in a sandy location because That's how it was in the film. And if you'll remember, this is where Muldoon and Sattler walk past on their way to the maintenance shed to reboot the park power. Don't have to worry about that kind of thing here. We're a professional company. We don't need to reboot the power. But there is our lovely raptor pen. We're going to fly over and trace their steps now. They'd walk forward, they'd swing over to the left, and we're somehow going to take a helicopter into the forest. They'd follow this path here. Over on that left-hand side, that is the scene right there where Muldoon went in and saw the clever girl. And on the right, if we turn, you should see there is our beautiful maintenance shed off in the distance, located just behind the fence with its little gateway there. And this is where Sattler, of course, had her valiant charge forward, her running, her jumping, getting slightly moist in the puddles until she managed to get inside and found Samuel L. Jackson's arm. There's the helipad that you all folks all arrived on now. Unfortunately, I know it looked nice and dramatic in the film, but that's not how it looks in reality. They did have to spruce that up a little bit for drama's sake. Spielberg, big drama queen, I've got to be honest. If we move down here, we'll see our first of the dinosaurs that you did not get to experience. This is our Segisaurus. Now, you may hover over it with your game console icon somehow magically and it'll say Troodon. That's because Segisaurus isn't actually in the game, but let's pretend it is. There is our Segisaurus. It could have been Compsognathus replacing it. We kind of went both ways. I wasn't really sure which to do. Settled on Troodon. Probably should have gone Compy, but there you go. There's our Segisaurus. And a fairly nice little exhibit. Eventually our tour will come down here. You'll be able to experience it in your cars. Here we can see the rest of the Gallimimus exhibit. You may remember from the film, Alan and the kids hopped over a log and then hopped under the log and then saw as the Tyrannosaurus Rex broke out of the tree line to feast upon a delicious, supple Gallimimus body. Sorry. Unfortunately, the log wasn't real, but what we did have was some lovely rocks which inspired that scene in the first place, as you can see here. And if you look to your right, that is the tree line where the Rex would have broke out. Even the little tree you can see when they first appear in the scene is right there in its correct place. Spared no expense. Swinging over a little bit to the right, something you didn't experience, but this was Dennis Nedry's goal in Jurassic Park, of course. We don't have anyone quite that underhanded here in the real-life Jurassic Park, unless you want to slip me a few 20s, but Dennis Nedry was trying to get to the docks, the East Docks specifically, so he could deliver the embryos and get off the island. Now, he was foiled in the film by the Dilophosaurus, just like he'd be foiled in real life. Of course, we're a very professional company, spared no expense, but here is a nice look at the docks he would have approached to. That was English word speaking good. Swinging a little bit further on, we'll get a slightly better look at our Baryonyx. Now, as I said earlier, there are 5 of them in the park. You would think they would fight with each other, but they don't. If we move a little bit further inland, however, the one exhibit you folks were not lucky enough to see, I'm afraid, just because they are not ready for the tour. We have our Velociraptor as a special treat. I've got a drone here. Sugar, 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 sugar. We're going to release the drone and that's going to let us get a very close look at the Velociraptors. There we go. The drone is inside their face and for some reason they're not noticing. Pretend that's all Kismet. There is our beautiful Velociraptors. These were actually rejigged genetically back in December in a genetics project we called Return to Jurassic Park. Now, given here at Jurassic Park we never left Jurassic Park, that doesn't really make sense as a title, but just roll with me on this one. There are our beautiful Velociraptors. Now, if you take a look at your maps, because you don't know where you're going next, yes, I believe, my lovely folks, that is essentially the end of our tour. Ignore those. Tell you what, folks, as a special treat today, unfortunately, our Metriacanthosaurus was taken ill. It's a big shame, but she's currently being recovered. She's being healed up. She's going to be A-OK. And because I didn't want you to miss out on a dinosaur, we instead flew in some concavenators from a neighbouring park, a much worse park that you wouldn't want to visit. You only want to visit our park. But we flew in some concavenators from a neighbouring park, and as a special treat we'll once again drop down the drone and you can take a look at those for yourself. There they are. They're beautiful creatures, not as beautiful as our Metriacanthosaurus, it must be said. And that concludes our tour of Jurassic Park. You may notice some things are not quite where you'd expect them to be, some things are slightly differently moved, but as we say, we base this park on a whole bunch of different things. Pretend this isn't meta-breaking for a moment. We based it on brochures, we based it on user-created maps, we based it on screenshots from the film, we based it on maps seen in the film, we based it on scenes in the film, we based it partially on the novel in very small doses. It's been a fun journey, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this tour off Jurassic I hope you've enjoyed this tour off Jurassic Park. If you did so, please do hit that giant like button that appears in your face as you exit the helicopter. Chuka, 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 chuka. And also remember to leave a comment in our guest book, which also happens to look like a comment section on YouTube down below. Thank you very much for joining me. Please remember to tip your pilot/tour guide. Very dangerous. Cheers myself as always. Bye-bye. Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to help support me a little bit more, you can do so at patreon.com/bestinslot. There's a link in the description down below. Every little really does help in times like these, but it's not at all expected, and by just watching the video you've already helped me out massively, and it makes you a pretty cool person, so well done you. Thanks for joining me either way, I'll see you next time.